How to perform a Grade 3 cleaning on the HP Jet Fusion 5200, 5600, and 4200 3D processing stations. Please note that although the video shows a 5200 3D processing station, the procedure also applies to the 5600 and 4200 3D processing stations. An external vacuum cleaner, lint-free cloths, a ladder and the cleaning kit shown here will be required for the cleaning. Also, you will need a nut driver with torque control. The build unit must be cleaned before beginning the cleaning process. Then, the processing station must be emptied, which means a Grade 1 cleaning must be carried out, as described in the user guide. Following that, press the button to turn off the processing station and turn off the main switch. A condensed version of the Grade 3 cleaning activities to perform on the processing station is presented here. How to assemble the vacuum cleaner. Connect the end of the external vacuum cleaner hose to the end of the other hose by pressing one into the other. Ensure that the two metal flaps are in contact with the end of the external vacuum cleaner hose. If necessary, clip one of the two accessories or the lance to the other end of the hose. The hose can also be used to directly vacuum the material. How to clean the mixer. Open the mixer lid by untightening the 6 captive screws on top. Note that the 4200 processing station will have 18 screws. Disconnect the two grounding cables shown. Disconnect the two flexible pipes from the two rigid pipes by untightening the two clamps. Open the mixer lid and hold it on its supports. Using the external vacuum cleaner with the uncaking accessory attached, clean the following parts: the mixer lid, the mixer material trap, the mixer body, with the help of a lint-free cloth. Move the blades with care to access all areas. Close the mixer lid. Clean the loose ends of the mixer hoses. Once cleaned, ensure that the sealing rubber is not damaged, the pins are properly placed, the lid is properly closed, and the flap is positioned with the magnet in front of the Hall Effect PCA. Tighten the 6 captive screws on the 5200 or the 18 screws on the 4200 at 0.8 Nm, 7.5 inch-pounds, and the two grounding cables. Then, connect the flexible pipes to the two rigid pipes by tightening the two clamps at 2.5 Nm, 20 inch-pounds. Make sure that the end of each flexible pipe remains between the two lines that are engraved on the rigid pipes. Note that for the 4200 processing station, these clamps should be tightened at 5 Nm, 40 inch-pounds. After the clamps are tightened, gently touch the hose from underneath with the palm of your hand and try to move the hose from the center vertically and very gently. Be sure that the hose moves upward easily with your hand. The main idea is to avoid having the hoses assembled too rigidly. How to clean the second stage tank and the material trap. Open the material trap located on the top of the second stage by untightening the 6 captive screws. Clean the internal face of the second stage separator with the external vacuum cleaner, with the help of a lint-free cloth. Clean the bottom part. Check that the sealing rubber is not damaged. Relocate the material trap in its original position and pay special attention to the sensor to not damage it when positioning the material trap. Close the material trap by tightening the 6 captive screws 0.8 Nm, 7.5 lbn. How to clean the storage tank. Remove the storage tank material trap by untightening the 6 captive screws. An L key will be needed to remove one of the captive screws. Also, be careful with the sensor. Clean the storage tank material trap with the vacuum cleaner and a lint-free cloth. Place it on top of the recycled tank lid. Clean the storage tank's interior walls by accessing them through the material trap hole in the storage tank lid. Use the lance with the uncaking accessory attached. It is recommended to clean the lid interface first, then the tank walls, and finally the cone and valve. Relocate the material trap assembly. Close the storage tank material trap by tightening the 6 captive screws. How to clean the sieve. If cleaning a 5200 processing station, disconnect the ultrasonic converter cable by gripping the plug and pulling it out. Hang the ultrasonic converter cable from the bracket at the left side. Then, release the ultrasonic converter by using a fixed wrench to hold the lower shaft and the torque wrench to unfasten the hexagonal adapter. Following that, very carefully, leave the ultrasonic converter over the foam and below the sieve body. Unscrew the 6 knobs. Open the sieve cover and hang it from the 2 hooks. Unlock and remove the sieve mesh. With the external vacuum cleaner, clean the following parts: the sieve lid, the accessible part of the bellows, the knobs threads, the sieve chassis and its insert pockets. Also clean the mesh, but outside of the processing station, taking special care as it is delicate. Return the mesh to its original position, and ensure that the rubber sealing is properly assembled. Lock the sieve mesh. Replace the lid by inserting it onto the 2 pins. Close the knobs until each knob screw is completely tightened. Neither the mesh nor the lid is replaced by a new one in this procedure. For the 5200 processing station, tighten the ultrasonic converter in the mesh shaft and fix it with the 2 wrenches at 20 Newton meters, 177 inch-pounds. And position the ultrasonic converter cable by tightening it to the top end of the ultrasonic converter. Perform a visual check of the sieve cone, mesh, and lid. How to clean the overflow material trap. Open the overflow tank material trap by untightening the 6 captive screws. Clean it with the external vacuum cleaner, with the help of a lint-free cloth. To easily access the deposit, place the overflow material trap on top of the overflow cosmetic arm. Clean the deposit. Return the material trap to its original position at top of the deposit and close it by tightening the 6 captive screws at 0.85 Newton meters, 7.5 inch-pounds. How to clean the external tank lid. Place the automatic hose on the support. Open the external tank lid and place it in the lid holder. With the external vacuum cleaner, clean the internal face of the external tank lid and the accessible part of the overflow discharge hose. Use a lint-free cloth if needed. Change the external tank for a clean one or clean the current one with the external vacuum cleaner. Close the external tank lid and ensure that the 2 latches are properly closed and the lance is connected to the lid. How to clean the mixer discharge hose. Clean the mixer discharge hose by opening the little gate at the center of the mixer handle base. Then connect the external vacuum cleaner. Finish the cleaning by vacuuming the working area. How to calibrate the mixer and the storage tank using springs. Calibrate the mixer and the storage tank. Note that a video of how to calibrate each of them is available at HP 3D Center Knowledge Zone. How to clean the vacuum pump filter. Completely unscrew the knob to release the filter. Rotate the container clockwise to release it. Be careful with the sensor when removing the container. Remove the filter and dispose of it according to local regulations. Clean the filter case. Insert the new filter between the container and the central tube, with the closed end at the top and the open end at the bottom. Rotate the container counterclockwise. Be careful with the sensor. Tighten the knob to lock the container and filter. Mark deep clean maintenance as done. Once all the cleaning steps of the hardware cleaning process for Grade 3 are completed, you must mark the processing station as deeply cleaned. To do so, go to the front panel, then Utilities, Maintenance, and tap Set Deeply Clean. Reboot the printer. On the front panel, select Settings, Material Management and tap Change Material. Finally, choose the new printing material.